So let's start with today's webinar. First of all, what will be discussed in this webinar? In this webinar, generally in Instagram Reels and all, you see within 90 seconds, how much information can you get? They will tell you, okay, you need class 12th, you need physics, maths, this much costing and all. But today's webinar is going to be long. It's not a 1 minute or half an hour webinar. Basically, if anybody is serious about this aviation journey, you need to know each and every step. Because when I started my aviation journey, there were a lot of doubts or questions I had. I never had the opportunity to discuss my doubts with somebody senior in the industry. So today we will discuss step-by-step procedure to the minute detail, starting from out of class 12th till the time you join as an airline pilot. What all are the steps that you are going to go through, be it medical, your ground classes, your examination, what type of examination, how much passing marks is required, how many months does it take, where should you do flight training from, cadet pilot, conventional pilot, or type rating, ATPL. Once you join the airlines, how much will be the salary? Everything will be covered in today's webinar. So, a brief introduction about myself. Uh, Basically, I started my aviation journey at the age of 17. Before that, I did my schooling from army schools. So, my father was in the army. I don't come from a very rich background or anything. In fact, I took a loan for my pilot training. So, I'm almost 17 and a half, 18 years into aviation now. I did my pilot training from Canada, and in 2008 I went to Canada to do my pilot training, and I finished it within 1.5 year. After that, I became an instructor. A flight instructor is basically, in schools you see you have teachers, so in flying schools also there are teachers. So I became a teacher there, became a flight instructor, worked there for 5 years as a flight instructor. Also I worked as a chief flight instructor, is like a principal in school, basically the head of the school. 16, I moved back to India and I started flying for an airline. And since then, I'm with the same airline. It's been more than almost touching 10 years now with that airline. I became a commander on Boeing 737 in 2018, and last year, I became a trainer on the Boeing 737. I have got close to 8,000 hours of flying experience. That's about it. So let's start off with today's webinar. That's my picture. So the first thing that we are going to talk about is the basic requirements. First of all, whether even you are eligible to start your pilot training or no. And if you are not eligible, what can make you eligible? So the eligibility criteria is minimum you should be 16 years of age. Education is 10 plus 2 with physics. Education wise, what is required? So you need to have in 10 plus 2 physics and maths is mandatory. So what about students who don't have physics and mathematics, like commerce? Like my younger sister, she's also a pilot. So she had commerce in school. So people who have commerce or arts background, they can also proceed with pilot training. It's just that simultaneously they will have to give physics and maths ka exam from either any state open board or National Institute of Open Schooling conducts these examination every now and then. Every 4 or 5 months these exams keep on happening. That generally students who come to us, we take care of it. So we will enroll you for physics and maths, we'll train you, and we'll make sure that you clear these examinations. So basically, in short, no matter whichever side you are from, physics, or science, arts or commerce, eventually you can take up this course and become a pilot. Science side say the time will be slightly lesser. Commerce and maths, your time wise 2 or 3 months extra you will take to become a pilot, basically by the time you get a license. Then if you are eligible, basically eligibility criteria is set. The first step into the aviation journey is to do your medicals. Pilots have to be medically fit throughout their journey. Medical fitness does not mean that you have to be a runner, marathon dodder, or you're going to gym or anything. Basic sound, basic fitness should be maintained. That will be conducted every year. So the first step into aviation journey, if anybody tells you that do this, do that, do not listen to anyone. The first thing that you have to do is do your medical, because if you're not medically fit, if you don't clear your medical, then obviously your money will be wasted in whatever you spend on your ground classes or anything. Because I am saying this because I faced this issue Now to YouTube is available, all these information. When I did my pilot training, at that time, computers, smartphones, ये सब नहीं होते थे. I mean, even if they were there, they were not accessible to normal people. So I had gone for my flight training without doing the Indian medicals, and I did it later on. So if I had failed my Indian medical, all the money would have been wasted. So that is why it is important to do the medicals. Let's talk about medicals in detail. Okay, so that's they've used my sister's picture in the slide. All the pictures that they've used, there are current students only which are flying. So these are the steps that we are going to talk about. We'll talk about medical, we'll talk about computer number, we'll talk about DGCA classes, then flight training, then license, and then what are the documentation required today. Basically, first you do the class 2 medical. This medical is to be done only once in your lifetime. You don't have to do this medical every year. Class 2 medical is done initially. It is done by not any regular doctor. There is a list of doctors that are approved by the Indian government, DGCA. They have approved doctors state-wise that only these doctors are authorized to do this aviation medical. We will provide you this list of doctors with their contact number, their address. So whichever doctor is closest to you, you call them, book an appointment. There will be an online ID that will be created for you. We will create that ID for you. You go to the doctor, book an appointment, and doctor will do your class 2 medical. Class 2 medical costs approximately 8 to 12,000 because these are private doctors, so they are authorized to set up their own fees. So some doctors charge 5 to 6,000 also, some doctors go up to 14,000 also. The average figure is 8 to 12,000. This medical is valid for 2 years. So basically, if somebody is sitting here in class 11th or you are currently pursuing class 12th, I would highly recommend that you do this medical now only because it is valid for 2 years. So if in case, just in case you don't clear this medical, you will know that you cannot pursue this career. You can start focusing on something else in life because this has to be cleared. So it is valid for 2 years. It takes only 1 day. Maximum some doctors take up to 2 days to finish this medical. That because they don't have, some doctors don't have labs and everything set up at their place. So they'll take your blood test, urine, the reports will come and they'll give you the report, the medical next day. So generally it takes only 1 day. Once the class 2 medical is cleared, then you can start studying for the written examinations for this particular course. Now you have to do class 1 also, but it takes time. So roughly around 60 to 80 days baad, or within 60 days, once you have this medical with you, then you are allowed to do the class 1 medical. This class 1 medical is conducted by the Indian Air Force or DGC approved civil hospitals. So either Air Force conducts it or civil hospitals also conduct it, but these hospitals have to be approved by DGCA again. The list will also be provided to you that which hospitals are approved. Very limited civil hospitals are approved to do this medical. Again, Air Force cost is less, civil hospitals cost is slightly on the higher side. It is valid for 1 year and this medical has to be done every year. So once you get into aviation, like I did my medical in December. So every December I do my medical, class 1 medical. That this class 1 medical initially has to be done by them. Later on for renewals, these class 2 doctors are also given, majority of them are given approval to do renewals for class 1. So it takes 1 to 2 days to complete these tests. However, majority of the tests that you do are same in class 2 and class 1. It is almost the same medical. It's just they don't want everybody to go to Indian Air Force to get their medical done. They say you do your class 2 first. If you clear, then come to the next step. So that is why class 1 medical is there. So once you have cleared this, you can start studying, join any ground training academy or anywhere you can join. And then in the meanwhile, you can do this class 1 medical. So these are the basic tests that we have mentioned here. However, you don't need to remember or write them down. You want to write, you can write. But the doctor will give you the list that these are the tests that you have to go through in your class 2 medicals or class 1 medical. Eye test, audiometry, blood pressure, BMI, HPTLC, lipid profile. These are certain FAQs, certain questions. Now I will only clear now only. And if you have any other questions other than that, you can write them down and we'll discuss at the end of the webinar. So if you wear glasses, चश्मे लगे अगर आपको, then also you can go on to become a pilot, as long as with the glasses you have 6/6 vision. मतलब glasses पहनने के बाद you should be able to read properly or see properly. If you are overweight or underweight, weight is not an issue for these medicals. If you are overweight or underweight, the doctor will give you time, or doctor will conduct some extra tests like sugar test, diabetic test कि ये तो नहीं, आपको overweight से generally these problems occur. So weight is not an issue. Am I tall enough? Now height, yes. Height, again, there is no height requirement set out by DGCA. DGCA does not say that we want this much height because different airplanes. But DGCA says whichever airplane you fly, when you sit in this seat, your hand should be able to reach all the switches on top also, and your legs should be able to reach the brakes properly. So anybody who is above the height of 152.5 centimeters, they generally do not have this problem. Anybody who below 152.5 centimeters, too short then. But yes, there is something called as ergonomics, if I'm correct. I think ergonomics check only. Basically, it's a cockpit check. So you have to go to a flying school. We'll arrange that. You will sit in the cockpit and they will sign it that, okay, even though the height is less, this person is able to reach all the switches and his legs are able to reach properly. They will sign it. That document will work and you will clear your medical wise. You will not have problem. Even if your height is less, doctor will clear the medical because there is no requirement set out. But when you join the airlines, that's when the problem will come. So this is a very big thing. Whoever's height is less, I'm telling you, you go to doctor will clear your medical. You go to any ground school, they will take the fees, they will teach you, because for them the height is not a requirement. You go to flight training schools, these are private schools, so they will take the fees. They will take 50-60 lakhs from you and then they will train you also. But when you join the airlines, that's when the problem will come. So you should know now only that this can become an issue, the height problem. If you are colorblind, you cannot become a pilot. A lot of people don't even know colorblind, they are colorblind. Colorblind is not like they see everything in black and white. No. When a mixture of color comes, they're not able to identify properly. So there are a lot of websites on Google. If you write colorblind test, you can open those websites, you can go through them. They will only tell you whether you're colorblind or no. Colorblindness is a no-no. And this is by birth. If you got a surgery done, any type of surgery, see, there are thousands of types of surgery in our body that can be done by doctors. So there is no, I'm not the right person to tell you whether this particular surgery is acceptable or to what limit it is acceptable. For this, you should again call these doctors up. We'll give you the contact number, call them, and they will tell you whether this type of surgery is acceptable or not acceptable. If you have knock knees, what is knock knee? See, a lot of knock knees are basically generally people who by standing straight, their knees touch each other. So that is knock knees. That is not acceptable in Indian Air Force or Army and all that. However, in civil aviation, up to a certain limit, it is acceptable. Very severe knock knees is not acceptable. Again, doctor will tell whether it is okay or no. If you have flat foot is okay. There is no problem. What if you fail your medical? This is something that you should be worried about, that if you invest so much money and then in future, let's say after 5 years or 10 years or now when I'm flying, what if I fail my medical, because I have to do it every year. So if you fail your medical, there is two type of unfitness. The doctor will either give you temporary unfit, basically something in my blood level is up and down, so they will say that you are temporarily unfit. Temporarily unfit means they will give you time to fix that particular problem, and once you are fit, you come back. But if there is something which the doctors think is permanently making you unfit, that koi severe accident ho gaya or severe disease you have gone through, if it is permanent unfitness, then you cannot continue your aviation journey. You cannot fly for the airlines anymore. However, for this reason only, the airlines have a separate insurance for the pilots, that if you fail your medical, you will be paid anywhere between 3 to 5 crores depending on your position or post in that airline. You will be insured up to 3 to 5 crores by the airlines, and there is separate insurance also. And these insurance are not like normal insurance. Sometimes we are worried like they will set up this clause, there is condition apply and all that. In this, it is very clear. that if you fail your class 1 medical unfit, you get your money. No money can fulfill the loss that you have, but at least you're getting some amount to start your new journey or something. Okay, so computer number. Computer number, now it's gotten very easy. Earlier, computer number was also a task. First of all, what is a computer number? Computer number is like an Aadhaar number. You know, every citizen in India is given an Aadhaar number by the Indian government. So, similarly, every pilot student is given a computer number by the Indian government. For that computer number, basically all your life you will be identified by that number only. So now, when I go to DGCA, my documents, they're not, my file is not by the name of Mohit. It's by that computer number. I am identified by that number only. This number will stay same throughout my life. This number is required to start your aviation journey. Basically, for medicals, you don't need it, but to write the DGCA written examination, you will require a computer number. And for the application of computer number, we do that application for our students. And also, I will make a separate video also that how to apply for computer number. Nowadays, earlier it used to take months to get the computer number. Nowadays, they have made it instant. That you upload the documents. These are the list of documents that you require: 10th, 12th, pass certificate, mark sheet, verification, Aadhaar card, photograph and signature. You upload, boom, you get your computer number. For CBSE or ICSE students, any other state board, if you are studying from, then from that state board you will need a verification letter, and that verification letter sometimes take 1 or 2 months from that particular state to come. So CBSE or ICSE, right away you can get a computer number. You don't need anything because their verification comes online only, right away, immediately you get it. Okay. So writing these exams, what are the exams first of all we are going to study? These are our classrooms only. So the exams are totally of different subjects. So some students ask, if I was commerce or arts, will I be able to study? Physics and maths is a basic requirement they have set out. However, physics maths does not come in these exams. These are totally different subjects that you will be studying about. So these are the subjects that you study. First subject is meteorology, air regulation, navigation. I'll talk about in detail about these subjects abhi. RTR, technical general. So these are the 5 main subjects that you study about. There is 6th exam also, but that is not a very difficult exam. That's something in school you have physical education or you have music, एक extra subject होता है ना, something like that you can say, if I have to compare. So these are the exams that you go through. Let's talk about these exams in detail. Okay. So the first exam, the first subject that you will be studying in this is meteorology. So I teach meteorology. Meteorology is a 50 question exam that the government takes. These are basically, they have set out our all India toppers that we got in this year 2025. All India rank 1, these students came. Meteorology is about weather. You will be studying about how in India the weather affects, what should the pilots avoid, how are the clouds formed, visibility, all that is covered in meteorology. Navigation is basically, in this you learn about what instruments the pilots use to fly, how to go from point A to point B. Like one of my cousin was asking me someday कि भैया road पे तो I see these boards that this place is this place is there. How do you get to know in air when you're flying where is this place? So basically that is taught in navigation. Navigation has 3 separate, further divided into 3 subjects. Overall, it is an exam of 100 questions, out of which all these exams require 70% passing. So 70 marks required. These are again our all India toppers in last year. The third subject is air regulation, in which you will study about law. That ground pe bhi you have laws, that left turn is free, you have to stop at red signal. I mean, you follow it or not follow it, that is a different story. But in air, laws have to be followed completely. So air regulation, again 50 question exam. Again, these toppers list is mentioned. Okay. The fourth exam is technical general, again 100 question. In this you study about engines, how the engines work, how the airplane flies, what are the parts in the airplane, how lift is generated. All that is taught in this particular subject. Again, the toppers list is mentioned here. Okay. RTR is the fifth subject. RTR earlier used to be conducted by WPC. Basically, this was a different department. DGCA was not conducting RTR because it has to do something with communication. So WPC does not conduct it for pilots. DGCA has taken over completely. So RTR is also conducted by DGCA only now. Abhi December mein first time DGCA conducted, and 41 out of our 43 students cleared in first attempt only these examinations. It is divided into two parts basically. First is the written part, in which you will get a 50 question paper, and then the part 2, which is a practical part where there will an examiner sitting with you. He will practice calls. He will say, okay, there is an emergency. What radio call will you give? If you have to descend or climb, what radio call will you give? So all that is covered in this RTR subject. Okay, so these DGCA written examinations, approximately it takes 5 to 6 months. If you go to a good ground school academy, approximately 5 to 6 months, you should be able to clear these examinations. 6 months is a good figure. This is multiple choice question paper. All the exams that you will be doing will be multiple choice only. Basically, there will be A, B, C options given to you. 70% is the passing. There is no negative mark. And you get your results within 3 to 5 days of conducting. Once these exams happen every month. So, right now, anywhere between 20th to 25th of the month, these exams take place. There is no limit on how many attempts you can give. So, there is no limitation. And these exams, we have centers all over India. So, there is no like you can give only up to the age of this or 5 attempts or 6 attempts. As long as you till the time you clear these exams, you can continue writing. But let's say if you fail an exam, the next month you cannot write it. So there is a cooling period. They said you can't just keep writing every month also. Now these exams that I discussed, 5 papers, these are separate exams. It's not like in school, let's say I fail 3 exams, I will fail the whole session and next time I have to do all the exams. Here you study one exam, or you will be studying 2 or 3 at once, and then you will write one by one, or you can write together also. These are separate exams. So if you write 3 exams, you passed 2 and failed 1, the next month or next to next month you can write only. You just have to write that one particular exam that you failed. So they're not connected to each other. These exams are valid for 5 years. So it's not like after 5 years you have to redo these exams. Basically, they're saying your exams are cleared, you finish your flight training part, the practical part of flight training. So your pilot training is divided into 2 parts. One is the written exam part. The second is the practical flight training part. So they're saying that if you have completed these written exams, you have 5 years to complete the flight training part. Within that time, you get your pilot's license. Once you have the license, then you don't have to write the exams again. But yes, within 5 years, some people clear these exams and then due to funds or any other reason, they wait. And then if 5 years is finished, then you will have to rewrite these examinations. Okay, these are basically our results in 2024 and 2025. All these students cleared the examinations. They're actually flying in different flying schools right now. These are also, last month, 100 plus students cleared the examination in first attempt only. So this is kind of a record set for us that once in one attempt only more than 100 students cleared the exam. Okay. So in general, how much time wise it is given? So basically, you do your medical, simultaneously you start studying only. Class 2 medical is done. Simultaneously, you apply for your computer number, or if you had to do it through National Institute of Open Schooling, simultaneously you're studying these ground classes and writing the exam. So overall, to complete everything, let's say today I have decided that I want to become a pilot. Approximately 4 to 6 months later, I should have completed all this if I go through proper channel. Everything should be done within 4 to 6 months. Medicals also, computer, National Institute of Open Schooling if required, and DGCA ground classes and examination. Once this is completed, then you move on to the next step. The flight training part. Now DGCA I have told you that you clear the written exam first and then do the flight training. DGCA has not said this. DGCA does not say that you clear written exams first. As per DGCA, they want at the end flight training should be completed and exam should be completed. So you want to do flight training first, you do flight training first, then clear the exam. However, there is a drawback to it. Or you can do simultaneously also. But there is a problem with it. That is, that if you have completed flight training and within 6 months you don't submit your documentation to DGCA, if you don't clear the exams within 6 months after completing the training, then you will have to again fly for 10-15 more hours, and you will have to again pay 3-4 lakhs extra. So that is why 99% of the students clear the written examinations first, then invest the money into flying. Also, the parents are more comfortable that to spend such huge amount if they see that my kid has cleared all the written examinations, because the written examinations ke liye fees is not very high. The DGCA written exam cost only 2,500 per exam. So fees is not very high. So that's why the parents feel comfortable. हाँ, clear कर लिए, then we are also confident that we can invest this much amount into our son or daughter. Now comes the important part, that is the flight training, the practical part. कि आपने पढ़ाई लिखाई तो सब कर ली, अभी तक स्कूल में भी you were studying only, but now you have to learn how to fly an airplane. So for that, the DGCA requirement is, they say you need minimum 200 hours of flight training is required. 200 hours basically, it's not like कि जैसे BTech हो गया, it has to be done in 4 years. So even if you are a good student or you study every day, still you will take 4 years. Anybody who is not studying will also take 4 years. In this, it is hours. You have to do 200 hours of practical training. कि एक तरह से देखो कि for example transport department बोल देता है कि आपको to get a driver's license of car, you have to drive minimum 20 hours of this car. So 20 hours you can drive in one day also, 20 hours you can drive in 1 year also. So there is no time limit set. They want 200 hours of flight training to be done to get your pilot's license. So generally, how much time does it take? Average time is 10 months, and not average time. Country-wise, the time differ. We will talk about time also. Anywhere between 10 to 20 months it will take, depending on which country you choose, which flight school you choose for flight training. So 10 to 20 months का time period it takes. Conversion flying क्या होता है अभी? Let's talk here only. So basically, DGCA has said that, see, written examination you have to clear in India. But for the practical part of flight training, we are giving you choice. You do it in India, you can do it abroad also. These 200 hours can be completed in Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, US, Canada, so anywhere you want to do it. But if you do it from outside India, basically you will get that country's pilot license. If I, let's say, for example, when I went to Canada, I got Canadian pilot license. So when I came back to India, I had to convert my Canadian license to Indian license. For that conversion, you have to fly for approximately 9 hours in India. So that is called as conversion flying. So for that, I have to pay slightly extra. So whenever whoever is going abroad, keep this budget also in your hands. So approximately 3.5 to 4 lakhs extra you will have to spend at the end once you are converting your license to Indian license. Then you will have two licenses. You will have that country's license also and Indian pilot license also. However, the job that you get with the airlines will be based on the Indian pilot license only. It's not like that you have two licenses so you will get double salary. No, it's not like that. Yeah, everything is same only. You will be flying on Indian license. That license is separate. Okay. So now let's talk about flight training in different countries. Very important slide for your decision. However, two things I'm mentioning here only. One is this decision where to fly. You don't have to take this decision right now. No matter where you do flying from, you will have to clear these written examination. So first 4 to 5 months, you don't have to take this decision that which country do I want to do flight training from. Initially, just focus on your exams. But yes, we are doing this webinar so that you know the whole process. Now we are going to talk about which country. So if one thing is clear, you don't have to take this decision now only. Second thing, no matter which country you do flight training from, eventually all of you will have to get Indian pilot license and you will be working with the airlines. So airlines do not care where you have done flight training from. ऐसा नहीं है कि you have done it from US, you will be given first priority for job. You has done it from some other country, you will get last. No, it's not like that. So when airlines come out with vacancy, recently now the airlines have come out with vacancies. So when they come out with vacancy, they will conduct a written exam. For that written exam, everybody will sit, wherever you have done flight training from. Based on that written exam, they will publish a merit list. Like last written exam, 70-80 of our students sat in the written exam. So everyone has had done flight training from different country, and then you get selected with that particular airline. Now, we have differentiated 4 countries only because these are the major countries where students are going. Majority of the students go to India, South Africa and US only for flight training. However, there are other countries also where students go, but we can't discuss each and every country, but these are the major choices. I would say 80 to 90% of the students are doing flight training from these 3 countries only. This particular webinar, we have added New Zealand also. The reason for adding New Zealand is recently visa issues with US and Canada. Majority of the students are getting their visas rejected for going for flight training in US and Canada. In fact, airline candidates who are already selected with the airlines, they are getting their visas rejected. So due to this visa rejection issue in this country, we have added New Zealand also here, that New Zealand is also a very good country to do flight training from. Let's look at country wise, that how much time, how much money. So basically this will help you in taking the decision that which country should you do flight training from. So let's look at these points step by step. So let's say if I'm doing it in India, first of all, how many exams do I have to write? 6 exams I will be writing in India. The exams we already discussed, 5 I showed you, and 6th I told you it's very simple exam. So these are the 6 written exams that you do in India. In India, approximate time to do flight training is 14 to 20 months. However, this is done by all private schools. So out of competition, some would say I will finish in 8 months, 9 months, 12 months. Average time in India is 14 months is a good school if you finish in 14 months. 14 to 20 months, however, there are schools which will take 5 years also. So be careful of which flight school you join. Costing in India, that is why we have mentioned 45 to 65. So the school, इसको इस तरह से देख लो कि I think there is a saying, right, that the more you spend, better you get. So something like that. If you want to reduce this time, increase this money basically. So the expensive the school, better it is. So schools ka fees range from 45 to 65 lakhs these days. You have to pay this fees in 4 installments, and there are more than 40 flying schools in India, and there are a lot of flying school under basically trying to under the process right now of opening up. So new flight schools are also coming up in India. South Africa. For South Africa, you write 3 examinations in India. Basically, meteorology, navigation, and regulation. These exams you write in India, and then you go to South Africa to do flight training. But when you go to South Africa, for them you are a fresh candidate. So they don't care if you have cleared examination in India. These exams that you cleared in India are for Indian pilot license. Once you go to their country, they will say you clear our exams also. So while flying only, you can clear, there are 19 exams in South Africa. But don't get worried by this number of 19 written exams, because these exams are of same subjects that you studied here. It's just these subjects are divided. And bio, I think, yeah, bio, like that. So you have 19 exams there. But if you have cleared Indian exams, all of them, you will not have problem clearing these exams, because you would have already studied. These are the same subjects that you will write their exam for. So exams ko soch ke do not take your decision. It is not, these are not so difficult examination. Eventually, you will have to come back and write the airline written exam also. So you will be fresh with your knowledge also. 12 to 15 months again in a good school. Again, South Africa, there are schools where we are taking 2.5 years to finish. And abroad schools may always add 2 months, because you will be coming back and converting your license. So that will take 2 months extra time. Costing is 40 to 45 lakhs in South Africa. However, do not look at this figure that in India it is 65, here it is 45, so 20 lakhs I will save. No, you will not save 20 lakhs in South Africa. Basically, your accommodation is slightly expensive. You come back, you convert your license, you pay 3-4 lakhs extra there, your flight tickets, everything inclusive. Difference between India and South Africa, you save close to 7 lakhs is an average figure. 7-8 lakhs rupees you save going to South Africa. That is paid in 5 installments. US or Canada, Again, you write 3 to 4 exams in India, same exams. You go to US, you write their written exam, again not very difficult. US flight training is comparatively fast. It takes 10 to 12 months maximum. It generally does not take more than that. There are students who finish in 8 months also, 6 months also sometimes. Fees is 50 to 60 lakhs paid in 4 installments. Again, we have kept a buffer here 50 to 60, basically depending on school to school. But be careful that in India, whatever schools quote you, let's say a school has quoted 60 lakhs. 60 lakh is your fees mostly, plus minus 1 or 2 lakhs. But in US, it will be a huge difference from what they quote you and what actually you end up paying. उसका reason मैं briefly आपको समझाने की कोशिश करता हूँ that, for example, the government in US has said that what if a person flies good? So he does not, in 200 hours of flight training, there will be examiner coming to do your test. So let's say you have completed 50 hours, examiner will come and do a test. If you fail the test, then you will have to do extra flying hours. Overall, average cost in US, whatever the schools quote you, increases by minimum 10 lakhs. पकड़ के रखो आप. So the reason I am mentioning it here because we have to arrange funds for flight training. कि आपने arrange किया 50 lakhs और वहाँ जाके पता लगा ये तो 65 हो रहा है. So then be ready for it कि इतना आपका charges वहाँ पे लगेगा ही लगेगा. They give you quotation on minimum hours. That okay, government has said you need minimum this many hours, but actually nobody is able to finish. Out of 1,000, one student cannot even do it at that price or the minimum hours. Everybody will go close to 250 or 270 hours in US, and they give you a quotation of 200 के आसपास का. Okay. Next is New Zealand. New Zealand, again you do 3 exams in India, 14 exams in New Zealand. Again, something similar to this only, that you have divided these same exams. So in short, if you have studied from India, cleared the exams, you will not have problem clearing the examinations in these countries. Time 12 months to 15 months. Costing is also 50 to 60 lakhs. This is a very good thing in New Zealand. Trust fund. What does this mean basically? In all these schools in other countries, you pay your fees directly to these schools. Now, what if the school shuts down? They try, because this is a private school. So if they run out of business, school closed down. So basically you are paying fees to someone and then you are stuck there. You cannot even change. If you don't like the school, there are so many things. But in New Zealand, the fees does not go to the flying school. The fees goes to New Zealand government. And the flying school will bill to the government. So let's say you have paid 10 lakhs to the New Zealand government. You are flying in your school. The school will take your signature. Okay, I have done 10 hours of flying. Kindly sign this bill. The bill will be sent to the New Zealand government and the government will pay the school. So anytime you want to leave the school or the school shuts down, anything, your money is safe always. So going to different country, this is a very big advantage also. Also, visa is not such a big issue in New Zealand like US and Canada. So that is also a very good choice these days. If you are doing flying from any of these 3 countries or any other country apart from India, you have to do 9 hours, 8 hours or 45 minutes, I think, of flying in India to convert your license. That cost approximately 3 to 4 lakhs. Accommodation is also mentioned here because apart from this, you have to think cost wise. There are 2 reasons you choose a flying school or country. How much is it costing me? And what is the time? How much time will it take? So these are the 2 reasons you should decide where you go. Also, quality is almost good in all the countries these days. So these are the 2 things you will decide on: how much costing and how much is the time frame. Cost wise, you can see almost they look same only. These are same. This is slightly cheaper, 6 to 7 lakhs lesser. But in this, add 3 to 4 lakhs for your conversion. Also, if you go to US and New Zealand, your accommodation, food, flight, per month 1 lakh extra. Your accommodation is expensive in US and New Zealand. The room rent is expensive. So your overall cost will increase by 10 lakhs in this. So if US, you get a quotation of 55, 60 lakhs, take 70 lakhs in your head because 10 lakhs you have to spend on your accommodation also. Food also. India, accommodation and food, you will not spend much. India, rent is not very high. These schools are not in big cities, Delhi, Bombay or anywhere. These are in small cities. So over there you can get 10,000 rupees में 15,000 maximum. You'll get a good two आपका room मिल जाएगा वहाँ पे. So आपका costing is less. South Africa, approximately 40-50,000 per month your cost of food and accommodation. New Zealand and Australia, it is better. So that's about flight training. Again, this decision can be taken later on. Whichever country you have done, you get the same job opportunity. If you want details about further details about all this, you can get in touch with us. We'll give you all the information, how much is the exact fees, quotation and anything. Okay. Well, these are pictures of few of our students who are doing flight training in India right now. These are our tie-ups in South Africa. These are our students who are flying in South Africa right now. This is US. This will be your accommodation in US. This is the fleet of airplanes that school has, to which we have tied up in America. It's in Florida. These are some of our students flying in US and New Zealand. Okay. These are certain questions that are asked about where is flying better. Flying quality is good everywhere. Because think of it this way, it depends on the instructor that you are getting. कि मैं आपको, if I give you a Wagoner in India to drive, to learn how to drive, a Wagoner in Canada, a Wagoner in US, everywhere it is the same car only. So even the flight training that you do, these are same airplanes that you train on. It's just the instructor that is sitting inside who's teaching you, that will matter. So who is teaching you? So quality of instruction is good as long as your flight instructor is good. Best job opportunity from which country? So again, whichever country you do flight training from, eventually you come back to India. So there is nothing like if I do flight training from this country, I will get a better job. However, like if you work in flight from a different country, like I flew in Canada, so I got the opportunity to work in Canada, got a PR in Canada. I had the option to join the Canadian Airlines and then get a passport, settle down there. So that option is available, not in US. US you can't do that. But Canada, yes, if you get a visa. So these are certain benefits you can have going abroad. And the other benefit that I personally found for me was my spoken English was not very good at that time. Like I was not very confident in English speaking. So going to a foreign country actually helped me in that way. But I would not say take your decision based on that. It's a personal choice. Why are prices different in different countries? Well, you notice the prices are almost same in different countries. It's just the accommodation is expensive in US and Canada. South Africa, it's slightly on the cheaper side because whenever we land, for example, I take the airplane and land in Bombay, we have to pay landing fees, parking fees to Bombay airport. Similarly, these flight schools also, they have to pay the government some amount, the runway that they're using. So in South Africa, the economy is not very strong. So everything is cheaper. So if labor is cheaper, your parking charges are cheaper, landing charges are cheaper. So overall operational cost is cheaper. So that's why their prices are also slightly on the cheaper side. However, at the time when you go for flight training, you have to see the currency conversion rate also. From last year till this year, South Africa mein fees has increased by almost 7-8 lakhs. Abhi jo fees that we have put, that is current fees only because their currency rate has increased by 1 rupee. Earlier it was their 1 ZAR was Indian 4 ZAR. Now it has reached almost 5 ZAR. Sorry, their 1 ZAR is 5 rupees in India now. Earlier it was 4 rupees only. So fees has almost increased by 7-8 lakhs in last 1 year because of just the rate increasing. So when you go, do that also, conversion. How much time does conversion flying take? Maximum 1 to 2 months to convert your license. Can I join airline in abroad? Well, yes, there are two ways to join airlines abroad. One is initially only like the path that I chose, worked as a flight instructor and then eventually settled down in that particular country. Or once you work in India for a few years, then you have the option to join airlines in Middle East or any country which comes out with jobs. So majority, or in fact a lot of my friends who used to fly with me in the airlines in India, they have joined Qatar Airways, Emirates, Fly Dubai. So all these places they have joined. So you can, once you have experience in India, you can join airlines abroad as well. But directly with that, without experience, these airlines will not hire you. Okay. So congratulations, at least on paper, you are a CPL holder. That's how it starts. Even you're sitting in a webinar, you might be giving all this information to somebody someday. So we have done, so far we have discussed our eligibility criteria. We were eligible. We did our medicals. We got our computer number. We did ground classes. We cleared DGCA written examinations. We chose which country to do flight training from. We applied for visa and documentation. Everything will be taken care by us only. You go for flight training, you complete your 200 hours of flight training, you come back to India, or if you did it in India only, you submit, you do conversion flying, and now we submit your documentation to DGCA saying that this person has completed all the steps that you mentioned. Kindly issue a pilot's license to this person. So they are going to issue you a pilot's license and you will have a CPL license in your hand. You don't have a job yet. So now we will talk about what happens once you have a pilot's license. So once you have the pilot license, you are eligible to apply for jobs in India. Okay. Now you will wait for airline vacancies like students have been waiting for now. So recently one airline vacancy has come out. Uniquely 4 or 5 airlines are there. So whenever a vacancy comes out, everybody, all the pilot students know it. There are WhatsApp groups, or we also update, we have WhatsApp groups in which all our students are connected. So all the time vacancies, whenever they come out, you get to know. In this airline preparation, what you do basically, now once the vacancy has come out, the airline will call you for the vacancy. Basically, there will be steps in that vacancies. All the students will sit for a written examination. Airline will again take written examination. This examination will have same subjects that you studied for DGCA exams. Same subjects ka airline will also conduct a written exam now. The only difference between that exam and this exam, two differences are there. One is those exams, DGCA exams, you did one by one. In this, all the subjects will be clubbed in one paper only. Second difference is, but this is a merit-based exam now. Now, for example, airline has 500 vacancies and 2000 people sit in that written examination. Not everybody will clear. Even if you got 70 and the merit is high, then you will not be selected. But even if you got 50 and the exam was difficult, you might be in the merit. So this is a merit-based examination. So you'll do a written exam. Whoever clears the written exam will be called for an adapt or compass psychometry test. क्या होता है अभी वैसे इतना जानने की जरूरत नहीं है, but basically software testing होगा to check your motor skills, your hand-eye coordination. They will make you fly an airplane with the joystick. Basically just a simple test, not very difficult. This generally people don't fail. 95% of students clear this examination. Then there is some airlines take group discussion also. All these steps might vary airline to airline. Majority of the airlines follow this process. Some of them, they will remove group discussion, that no required. So group discussion you will do. So basically a topic will be given, you will discuss about that talk. All that practice we do here only. Then there is a personal interview. So airline pilots, HR, they will sit with you, they'll ask you some questions, and then they'll call you for the letter of intent signing. Basically, you will sign the documents. Yes, you have been selected with the airline, and now airline will train you with them. This process generally, it should be a 1 to 2 months process, but sometimes this process can be longer as well, depending on the airline requirement at that time. We recently, very recent example, one of the airlines in India, they conducted written exam. However, to call them, and then they realized that they don't need so many people. So they called only a few. And the later ones, they called after 6 months. So sometimes this process might take time, but if they do everything in time, on time, it should be completed within 2 months. Okay, what do you do then? Once you get selected with the airlines, basically, can you see you did training on a smaller airplane? This is the airplane that you do training on. This is a two-seater or four-seater airplanes. But when you join the airlines, you will be flying bigger jets, bigger airplane, 200-seater airplane configuration. So to you have learned on this and they want you to fly this, you will be given extra training. That training is called as type training or type rating, which is done on these simulators. You don't do it on actual airplane, it is done in flight simulators. So these are hydraulically powered flight simulator. Once you sit inside, you don't feel like you are in a simulator. The feeling that you get is actual airplane only. We can't do everything in this airplane all because first of all it will be very expensive to do training and it will be unsafe because you will be practicing engine fire, engine failure, a lot of maneuvers which you cannot do in an actual airplane. It is unsafe to do in actual airplane and also expensive also. So that's why it is done on flight simulators. How much will it cost? So first of all, which simulator depends depending on which company you join. You join, so there are Airbus simulators, Airbus 320, Boeing 737s. So whichever airline operates whichever airplane, you do those simulators. So if you do join Indigo, you'll be doing Airbus type rating. If you do Akasa, you will be doing Boeing type rating. So depending on which airline you get selected, you will be doing this type rating. Also, I have posted on this. I will not discuss here that when should you do type rating. We are just discussing a simple process here that you got selected with your pilot license. Then the airline, whichever airline you joined, they made you do this type rating. However, there is a possibility in which you can do the type rating before joining the airline only. For that, I have posted a YouTube पे video that type rating के नाम से होगा. In that, I have explained in 20-25 minutes that when should you do this type rating. In normal process, this is the process only. You get selected with the airline, you do the type rating. But there is something in which if you do this type rating on your own, where you are expecting that airlines are about to come out with vacancy, then your chances of getting selected increases. So वो video में आप देख लेना, अच्छे से समझ आ जाएगा. Now, who will pay for this type rating? So this depends on demand and supply. Again, earlier 2005, 2006, there was a lot of shortage of pilots. That time, airlines were paying for this type rating. However, since after 2008 till now, pilots are paying for this type rating. The good thing is you pay for this once you get a job only. So you will be paying, even though you are selected with the airlines, the costing will be borne by you. How much will it cost? Approximately 12 to 15 lakhs it will cost you to do this type rating, which has to go in one go only because type rating only takes 40 days. 40 to 45 days ka training hota hai, which is done in India also, and the airline can send you abroad also. Airline will take care of everything. They will send you wherever you have to go for type rating. It's just the money has to be paid by you for this type rating. Some airlines, sometimes, they say we will deduct this amount from your salary monthly. That every month there will be some portion of your salary that will be reduced, that will be taken out, and eventually you will be paying. But majority of the airlines, you are only paying one go only. Very rarely it happens that airlines will deduct it from salary. Okay. So now, congratulations, you are working for an airline also now. So finally you start getting paid. So these are few of our students who recently got selected. In the last year, they got selected with the airlines. और भी हैं, आई थिंक ज़्यादा ही डाल दिया इसमें इन्होंने तो. Okay. There is a small slide that I want to talk about. ATPL, basically, I've put this here because students ask me, I've heard you need ATPL license to get a job with the airline. No. ATPL is basically Airline Transport Pilot License. It is required when you become a commander of the airplane. So basically, when you join the airline, you will be joining as a first officer, trainee first officer, then become a first officer. For that, the requirement is CPL license, जो हमने अभी तक process we discussed. But once you have experience on that airplane, then to become the commander, the senior pilot in that, there are two pilots, one is junior, one is senior. So to become the senior one, you need ATPL license. For that, 1500 hours of flying experience is required, and DGCA written examinations of those subjects, वो जो पहले हमने CPL के टाइम पे किया था, you again do those exams, 3 exams only. To clear these, you again clear those examinations, but slightly difficult हो जाते हैं exams, but everybody clears them. इतना कोई difficult नहीं है. So this is not required at the time of joining the airlines. But yes, you can write this exam. Exam can be written. Once you complete 1500 hours, you will get this license ATPL. So as soon as you have CPL and you are waiting for airline vacancy, I always recommend to students that you clear these exams, because when you sit in interview, airline will also see that this candidate has cleared all the ATPL exams already. He just needs to complete the 1500 hours with us and he will be ready to have an ATPL license. So that is something positive on your resume, but not required to get a job. So if you clear these written examination in advance, it will help you. There is no harm. It's not, you just have to pay 2,500 for per exam. In your resume, you will have that exams are cleared. Eventually, you have to clear these exams. Okay. Let's talk about, so far we were spending only. We were spending for medical, we were spending for DGCA ground classes. Now when you join as a trainee first officer with the airline, initially you will join as a trainee. So under training, the airline will pay you 40 to 50,000. 3 to 6 months tak you will be under training, basically when you're doing type rating and all the other things. Or once you join the airline also, you will not directly go and fly the airline or the airplane. You will be on the observer seat, observing the other two pilots, what they are doing. Then you will fly with trainers like us who will train you, and then eventually you will become an airline pilot. So that period is approximately 3 to 6 months. Sometimes this period can increase also if the airline training is slow. Here time written is average time. You are paid 40 to 50,000. Some airlines pay 80,000 also, 1 lakh also. Some airlines pay very less. So I have written an average figure here. And some airlines pay full salary also in this time. So initially you will become a first officer. Your salary will be 2 to 3 lakhs per month for approximately 1.5 years. Then you upgrade to a senior first officer. Your job is same. Senior first officer salary 3 to 4 lakhs. You stay as senior first officer for about 2 years. And in about 3 to 4 years time working with the airline, you are ready to become a captain. This time, once you are a senior first officer, you have the option to either become a captain in India or you join the airlines in Middle East. Qatar, Fly Dubai, Emirates, all these airlines, they come out with vacancies. So you can apply, Etihad also. You apply, you get selected, you will join there as a first officer, and the first officer salary there is 8 to 12 lakhs per month, no taxes. So salary is very decent. Also expenses are very high staying in Middle East. Don't think I will be earning this much, so I will be saving this much. I think 2-3 lakhs to minimum आपका खर्चा है ही है वहाँ पे. But still very good salary that you get in Middle East. Then you upgrade to a captain in India. Captain salary in India is 7 to 10 lakhs per month. Obviously all these salaries that I have mentioned, they are subjected to 30% income tax slab. तो income tax cut के आपको salary आएगी. So 7 to 10 lakhs per month captain salary in India. But if you had gone to Middle East as a first officer and then upgrade as a captain, or India में captain बनने के बाद भी, like now if I want, I can go to Middle East and directly work as a captain only. I don't have to work as first officer now. So there the salary is 12 to 14 lakhs per month, no taxes. Extra allowances as applicable, इसकी बात नहीं करेंगे. Extra allowances, basically pilots get other allowances also. That you are traveling as a passenger, they'll pay you a lot of things. You are away from home, then they will pay you extra. So these are all allowances. Okay. Now let's discuss very important thing, that is the cadet pilot program. So far what we were discussing was the conventional program. नाम इसको बोलते हैं conventional program. Conventional program means you did everything on your own. So far whatever you did, खुद ही तो किया था हमने. We decided where to go, and then you write the written exam, get selected, and then do the type rating and selected with the airline. Now some airlines, they have their own cadet program also. When I use the word also, that means in addition to hiring conventional people, they have something as cadet program also. So half of the hiring they will do through conventional, whatever we discussed. Some of the hiring they will do through cadet program. They will say right out of class 12th and you have attained the age of 18, they'll say we will conduct through that process, we will select you as a candidate for our airline now only, without even doing flight training, anything. They will say, they will sign a letter of intent with you that if you complete everything according to us, your performance is okay, you don't have to write the written exam later on. वो जो merit में आपको आना था, basically you have, in short I would say, job guarantee word नहीं use करूँगा, job assurance. You have job assurance from day one if you don't mess up something. Like there are certain students who got selected who are flying in US, but their flight training was not good. I mean, their flying skills were not good. So some of them, the airlines remove them then, okay, that you are not a part of our cadet program. But that very rarely happens, very extreme cases. Example के तौर पे 100 में से मेरे ख्याल से 1 या 2 के साथ मे बी ऐसा होगा, but majority of the students they clear through cadet program. Cadet program is a training pathway where airlines select candidates and sends through their partner flying training organization. So what these airlines have done, they have tied up with different schools. So now you were going to the school of your own choice till now in conventional program. Airlines went to South Africa. They said, let's find out some good school and let's do a partnership with them. That we will select our candidates in India, we will send you. You do the flight training, you come back, we will train you and you start working for us. Once you have joined the airline, then both conventional and cadet people are same. There is no distinguishment between them. Their salary is same, their bond period is same, everything is same for them. There is no difference. You can't even tell that this person is cadet, this is conventional, aisa kuch nahi hai. But it's just the hiring process is different. Okay. In this, what is the hiring process? Again, for this cadet program, I have posted a YouTube video also in detail where we have discussed that what all tests are there. That in this I have just written that this is the test. In that we have shown which specific test mein what do you get. Okay. So in this cadet preparation, basically there is no written examination. Airline ke time pe written examination was there. They are not conducting any written because you have not studied anything. They will do that hand-eye coordination software test. Then there will be a group discussion task. There will be personal interview, and then they will sign the letter of intent with you that okay, you go for flight training, you have been selected, and you move on. Now, everybody would want to get selected with the cadet program. Obviously, cadet program sounds much better that from day one only you have a job guarantee. But there are still people doing conventional program. Why? So let's discuss what is the difference between cadet and conventional pathway. Conventional pathway, the good thing is that you can start at the age of 16 only. Because for cadet, you have to be at least 18 years of age. So you have to wait till 18. Now anybody who wants to do cadet only and they are, let's say 17, they just got out of class 12, you can utilize this time to clear the DGCA written exam now. Written exams ke liye you don't have to be 18. Only to apply for this cadet program you have to be 18. And even when you get selected with the airline, you still have to write this DGCA exam. DGCA exams to fir bhi likhna hai. And they have set a limit that if you don't clear any exam within 2 attempts, you will be removed from the cadet program. So majority of the students, what they do is, even if they are doing cadet program, they clear the DGCA written exam in advance only. That you clear the exam, then join the cadet program. The advantage is again that 2 time ka limit is not on you now because your exams are already cleared. Once you join the airline, now you don't have to redo these exams. They will only teach you don't have to appear for the exams again. And some of the cadet program also reduce your fees slightly because your exams are already cleared, but not a huge amount. Costing in this conventional pathway, costing including type rating. So your CPL flying was close to 50 to 60 lakhs. And then 60 lakhs higher side pe pakad ke rakho, and then you pay for the airlines type rating. Now type rating cost I mentioned is 12 to 15 lakhs. but depending on airline to airline, some airlines might charge you 25 lakhs for type rating. So costing type rating की जो है, जो simulators की training कर रहे थे हम, वो airline बोलती है कि simulator की तो training कर ही रहे हो आप, हम आपको उसके अलावा भी तो बाकी training we are doing it for you. So overall they might charge up to 25 lakhs also, 25 to 30. So overall costing can go to 60, 90 is max to max. But average figure I would say 75 to 80 lakhs you should keep in mind. 80 lakhs तक तो आपका खर्चा होना ही होना है इसमें, including your CPL and your simulator training. In cadet program, costing is 1 to 1.6. Now 1 to 1.6 क्या है? Basically they have tied up in different countries. So we know that South Africa flying is cheaper, so their cost will be different. If they have tied up with a school in US, the cost will be different. So different cadet program have different prices. The cheapest cadet program right now is in India only. Basically, the airline had tied up with a flight school in India, and there they are doing cadet program. So that costs 1 CR. So यहाँ पे अब आप देखोगे तो costing में difference is 15 to 20 lakhs if you get selected in the cheaper cadet program and you have job guarantee also. Then this is better. But yes, if you're going for 1.6 CR, then this is better. Here you're spending only 80 lakhs. So that decision is totally up to you. Depends on how deep the pocket is, and also it depends on how good you are at studies. If you're good at studies, then you can crack through conventional pathway also, because you just have to appear for airline written exam, and if you're sure that you'll be in merit, you'll clear the exam. Like I was sure. At that time, so I had no information, but when I wrote the written exam in the airline, in the merit I was number 4. So I was sure that I'll crack the written exam easily. So in this you have job assurity from day one, not job guarantee, job assurity. You have to apply for job after finishing your training. Number of DGCA attempts, there is no limit to clear the written examination. Here, limited attempts for DGCA, mostly 2 attempts you get. Flexible performance level, as in even if your training is slow, because you are paying from your pocket, so you'll keep paying, get more training, and your expenses will increase. But in this, performance level is slightly on the stricter side. Time 1.5 to 2 years for CPL. Basically you complete your DGCA written examination and CPL flying. Overall it will take 1.5 to 2 years to complete. You will meet people in aviation industry, they'll say sir 6 महीने में flying करा दूंगा, 8 महीने में pilot बना देंगे. All that is, see, you're not learning how to drive a car. You're learning how to fly an airplane. You'll be responsible for the safety of so many people. So this training takes time. So it is going to be minimum 1.5 year to 2 year before you complete everything, basically to get your license. And by the time you get selected with the airline, you start flying, you should keep 3 years in your hand. Some lucky students within 2.5 years also. But on the plus side, always have 3 years on your hand. 2 साल में you get CPL, wait for airline vacancy, apply for airline vacancy, airline process will take place, then airline training will take place. So by the time you start getting salary, the main salary that you start getting, that is approximately 3 years from the time you start. So training in best FTO the country has to offer. Basically cadet programs mein, they always choose the flight schools which are the most expensive and the best flying schools. So that's why the costing is slightly on the higher side for cadet program. Cadet program also, it will take you overall 2.5 years or 2.5 years minimum before the time you get. Time wise it is going to be same, yes, but in this sometimes you might have to wait for the airline vacancy. If in that period, like there was a period of 7 to 8 months that there was no vacancies abhi. So if you fall into that period कि आपने अभी खत्म किया in 6, 7 months, 8 months तक there is no vacancy, then your timeline might increase by that much. So again, you will have to decide which program you want to choose. Also, not all the airlines have cadet program. Limited airlines have cadet program. So ऐसा नहीं कि सब airlines के पास ही cadet program है तो. So conventional people get hired in those also airlines, and the airlines which have cadet program also hire conventional people. There is an age limitation in cadet program. Maximum age limitation is, Air India has 30. The other airlines have 35. Arrange funds, basically self-funding. Your parents will fund it. Bank loans, yes, bank loans are available for this. Bank loans, I took a bank loan to do my pilot training. So bank loans are available for this particular type of training. However, it is not a collateral free loan. Collateral free मतलब क्या होता है? You will have to have some property or something against which the bank is going to issue you loans. Bank loans are available. Banks give you moratorium period as well. कि आपने, let's say, bank said we'll give you your tuition fees and after you complete we'll giving you, let's say, 6 months moratorium period. मतलब आपको वो 6 महीने के लिए you don't have to pay anything. After 6 months you get a job, you start paying us. But what if you don't get a job in that 6 months? You still have to pay to the bank. Interest will start from the day the bank has paid you. Repayment of that will start the day you get your job. Scholarships. Earlier there was scholarships by governments for SC, ST candidates, but these scholarships are not there anymore. Sometimes, rarely, the governments come out with scholarships. That Honda, private company, they came out with a scholarship 2 years ago that they'll fund flight training of 20 female students. So every now and then these scholarships come out, but right now there is no scholarship that is available. Anybody who is telling you that I will give you scholarship of 60 lakhs, 70 lakhs, I feel it is just a trap. How can somebody give you this much amount of scholarship? 70 lakh रुपए कौन कैसे अपनी जेब से दे देगा? Instructor rating is an option. Instructor rating क्या है basically? That what I did, after CPL, if you don't have 25 lakhs to do your type rating, you become a flight instructor with the school. As a flight instructor, you get paid also, salary is also good, almost close, equivalent to first officer's salary in the airline, once you have 1 or 2 years experience. So, flight instructor mein, initial salary is also 80,000 to 1 lakh ke aaspas to hoti hai, and then it increases. So, you can work as a flight instructor and then build your experience, save some money and then do the type rating. So, these are certain options which are available to arrange the funding. Why do students come to PPA? First of all, so a brief about the academy and then we will discuss the questions and everything. Our academy is solely was in Delhi till now, and students from all over the country were coming. We train close to 300 students in a year, but not in one batch. We have batches of 25 to 30 students. And this year, starting next month, because of the results that we were giving, 100 plus students cleared last month also. First of all, the reason why are these results coming? Because one of the only institution in India where active airline pilots teach you, train you, mentor you. So there will be airline pilots from all the airlines that come and prepare you for these examinations. And because of these results only, last month their passing percentage was 28% students all over India cleared the navigation exam. However, from the academy, 96% student cleared the exam. We have one branch opening in Bangalore next month. The reason we took time to open it, we were approached by a lot of people that we want to open franchisee, but we never wanted to go into that model because the quality of teaching would go down. So now we have managed senior airline pilots in Bangalore also who will be training you, who have more than 10 years of flying and teaching experience. So in Bangalore, whoever is from Bangalore, on New Bell Road is the region in which the academy will be opening next month. So the reason we opened it again, there were a lot of students from Kerala, Chennai and Bangalore, Hyderabad, which were facing difficulties coming to Delhi to get trained. However, the classes happened online as well as offline, both. But online, you are sitting at home, the type of training we cannot conduct, which we could do offline. You are sitting here, personal attention can be given to you. So these are our last year's All India rank number 1 only we have mentioned here. Otherwise, in top 3, a lot of students were there. So these were all different subjects, All India rank 1 from the academy. Again, these are our toppers in last year. All the list of, basically in top 3 whoever came, their photos are attached. These are our previous batches. These are basically our cricket matches or trips, air traffic controller visits. We have a flight simulator setup also, which can help the students. These are air traffic ATC visits that we keep doing so that students connect with the flying that they're, the ground training that they're doing. कितना है? Okay. Tentative dates for this year: 2nd Feb, 2nd March, April, May, June. These are the next batches that will be starting. So generally, first Monday of every month, a new batch commences. So that is it from my side.